Patios rocking, tank tops and chains.
Welcome to MusicReach. We are here with Jessie T today, coming from Kitchener-Waterloo, originally from Kingston, Ontario. Thank you very much for being here and answering a few questions we have for you.
Happy to be.
Yes, I hope you're staying warm. We were just talking about the weather and
It can't seem to make up its mind this year, but I suppose that's every year as well.
Yeah, it never ends, and unfortunately we have more. I just saw we have a freezing rainstorm coming our way.
Oh no.
I know. And for a gigging musician like you, it's tough to travel sometimes, so I hope you stay safe on the road. I saw your schedule and it looked pretty busy.
It is, which is, that's a good thing. It's hard to complain about being busy in this industry.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's filling up to be a pretty good summer.
Yeah, I hear you're at Molly Bloom's tonight.
I am, yeah. Every Wednesday night in Waterloo, University Plaza, I play Molly Bloom's. So
Okay.
yeah, that's been going on for, I think, about a year and a half, but on and off for probably about 4.5 years now. Crazy enough.
Wow. And are you doing that solo or your full band?
So this one, on Wednesdays, I just do solo. But I do have a gig coming up actually this Saturday at the Belmore Maple Syrup Festival, which I'm performing with the country cover band that I play with. We're called Galley West.
Awesome. I didn't know that about you. You have to send me a link and I'll post it down below and people could check out that band as well.
Love it. Yeah, there's a few different variations. I do solo, a couple duos, one trio. I got a full band that I play with for cover stuff, and then a few variations for my original music as well. So
Okay, who's in the trio?
Janae Yetkiner,
Awesome.
Jeff Pitcher, and myself.
Awesome. You got a good lineup there.
Pretty solid guys, yeah.
Yeah, it's like an all-star trio.
Yeah, fortunate to have found myself, yeah.
Yes. How long have you known Jeanette?
Oh man, I moved here from Kingston, a little over 6 years ago. And I believe it was about 6 months after I moved that him and I met. It was actually at the old Maxwell's for Songwriting night. And I just finished performing. He came up to me and he was like, we need to gig together. And after obviously seeing what he can do on stage, I was more than definitely down.
Yeah, he's an amazing guitar player.
He is.
And actually, you're both judges, aren't you, on the shot?
We are, yeah.
This is your second year?
It will be. I'm really excited. And not that I want to toot my own horn, but I was the winning judge last year.
Awesome.
Yeah. And so I had 2 contestants on my team. There was, I believe, 5 of us judges, each of which had 2. And both my contestants made the top 4, which was a pretty cool thing.
And who was the winner?
Patrick Rock was his name.
Awesome.
Yeah, he's a really cool dude, like super kind of raspy storytelling voice and guitar player. So yeah, definitely.
Maybe I'll get to have a few words with him sometime soon.
That'd be awesome. He'd be a good one to have.
Is he originally from Kitchener-Waterloo?
No, actually, he resides in Ottawa.
Oh, Ottawa, okay.
But he does kind of some stuff back up in Toronto as well, so...
Yeah, maybe I'll touch base with him.
Definitely.
And this year, when does this begin? This is your second season, but this is actually the 6th season, I believe?
It is the 6th season, yeah. So it all kind of comes away in September, but there's lots of kind of planning and meetings and such that we have going on starting kind of this Saturday, with just kind of coordinating different things, figuring out, when the video submissions are done and, what kind of the protocol is, because each year has been a little bit different that I've been involved. So last year it was very much kind of a vocal competition, whereas this year we're almost pitching it more as a Dragon's Den or a Shark Tank. Come and show us what you have to offer and let us help you hone your skills. And then from that, we will choose kind of the person that we feel is the most suited for kind of to introduce them to our connection. So it should be a pretty cool season.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. And is that just vocally or instrumentally too, or?
So there will be different rounds with instrumental options. It is a vocal competition kind of coming down to it, but we are really looking for an artist.
Okay.
I don't think, there are amazing singers that don't necessarily play instruments, but it's cool, when that's an option as well. For me, just having someone that can really tell a story with their voice is huge.
Yeah.
And it doesn't need to be, drastic vocal range and stuff like that, but to really understand what your strengths are as an artist and being able to showcase those, whether it's through songwriting, whether it's through playing an instrument or just singing, as long as you kind of understand what your strengths are.
So if someone's interested in that, how would they go about applying or signing up?
So we have a Facebook page, we have an Instagram page, we got a website. So I believe it's Sing for the Shot.
Okay. Maybe if you send me that link, I could post it down here for everybody, and they can click that.
Absolutely.
Along with all your links to purchase your amazing music.
Oh, thank you.
I had a nice listen to Reckless Heart, and there was 3 that really stood out to me. Hellbound is my favorite, and one of them is, I don't know if it's me being biased, it reminds me of Blaze of Glory. I don't know if you've ever heard that song by John Bon Jovi.
Yeah.
It was written for a movie called Young Guns.
Yeah.
And it just has that aura about it, that vibe. And as soon as the riff started, even before you started singing, I thought that. I was like, wow, this is pretty incredible. So that one was my top one. And the other one was Keep Your Lips to Yourself.
Yeah.
And Meet My Crazy. Meet My Crazy, I think, is radio worthy. Like, that should be spread everywhere. That's a perfect radio song.
We're hoping for it. So we've had Hellbound and Meet My Crazy as singles to country radio. Meet My Crazy we released last summer, and Hellbound was actually last January. So it was pretty cool because, again, we've had 4 singles from that album. The first being First Love Kind of Feeling, second was Summertime Song, Hellbound, and then Meet My Crazy, all of which I did radio tours throughout Ontario for. And Hellbound actually reached 100 on the BDS charts, which was kind of a big deal for me.
Yeah.
Again, just kind of certification that I'm following the right path. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, you definitely are, and you're probably one of the hardest working musicians I know.
Oh, thank you.
I've been following you for a while, and you're impressive. So keep up the good work.
I think honestly, when it just comes down to something that you love, it's there's definitely days that feel like work. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to lie and be like, oh, it's all just butterflies and chocolate bars, which both of those things are good as well. But I think it's just one of those things that when you're doing something that you love, when you're following a passion that you feel so strongly about, it's a lot easier to go to work each day.
Yeah.
And to kind of keep the hustle alive, because I'm running my own ship here. So if I'm not getting up to go to work, no one is. So
yeah, exactly. And sometimes it doesn't feel like work when you love it so much, right?
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. And that's pretty cool too. I mean, you get to meet so many cool people, just like yourself. Through exactly. I'm a big fan of the thumbs up. But through this industry, there's a lot of really, neat people you get to meet with different talents and different ways that they want to help you kind of progress. And it really is a group effort. Without people listening to your music, without people, helping you advertise, showing up to shows, I would just be a musician sitting in the living room. Yeah. So it's, as much as it is about writing and, the hustle, it's also about all the people helping me get there.
And your hustle has brought you to a few spectacular things. I hear you got the top 10 in CBC Searchlight.
Yeah.
You played for Canada's Day, which is pretty huge.
It was a pretty big deal. Yeah.
Yeah, that must have been pretty nerve-wracking at first, eh?
Oh my goodness, it was my first festival. I had done little rib fests here and there and stuff, but it was funny because the way that it happened was one of my regulars. So I served 2 days a week as well. Okay. Which is just more for my sanity, if I'm being completely honest.
Yeah.
You might have noticed I'm a bit of a chatterbox, so I need to get a certain amount of words out in a day.
That's all right with me.
But one of my regulars for one of my waitressing jobs kind of had a connection into the radio station or to the booking agents of that festival. and he was saying that they had told him it was going to be a country festival and they were looking for a local artist. And he was like, I knew I had to ask you right away. So geared up the band and showed up, and it was a pretty cool show.
That's pretty great.
Yeah.
And you're also showcasing at the Canadian Music Week in Toronto at Boots and Bourbon for the music showcase.
It's true, yeah, which is another big show. Canadian Music Week is like a huge deal for anybody that doesn't know. It's like pretty much all of the biggest industry personnel in Canada that show up to this.
Wow.
And there's, hundreds of different showcases. I believe it kind of runs Wednesday through Saturday in Toronto. And yeah, I'd have a showcase this Saturday at 8 p.m. at Boots and Bourbon. So going to get the full band and rock out. Is
that open to the public, or is it kind of invite only type thing?
No, it is open to the public.
Okay.
So we have a 40-minute set, and even if you get there near the end, there's music before and afterwards as well.
Okay, great. Well, anybody in the Toronto area, go check out Jessie T. What day exactly are you showcasing?
May 12th.
May 12th?
At 8 p.m., yeah.
8 p.m. So anybody in Toronto who's listening, go check her out and give some support. She kicks some serious ass.
Not physically, yeah.
Just on the vocals and guitar.
Exactly.
So what brought you from Kingston all the way to Kitchener-Waterloo?
So I had met my producer when I was about 15, 16, Rick Hutt, the amazing. Okay. When I was about 15, 16, and I just, you get to that age with your parents that, you're like, I love you guys still, but you just got to spread your wings a little bit. You got to follow your own dreams. Yep. And it was really the only place that made sense for me to kind of follow at that point in my life. I was freshly 20. And I just always had a love for music. It wasn't as if I, wasn't talented or couldn't have followed other passions, but nothing just ever resonated with me the same. So my aunt and uncle, the way that I ended up meeting Rick originally was my aunt and uncle had given me some recording time for Christmas the one year to make, a 5-track little CD back in Kingston. My uncle was in a band growing up, and one of the guys that he was in the band with owns a recording studio there. So I went in and I was deathly ill that day. We recorded 6 karaoke tracks. It was like Evanescence, My Immortal, Sugarland, Carolyn Dawn Johnson, Patsy Cline, like the most eclectic CD you'll ever find. And please, if anybody's listening to this, don't look for it. It was not very good.
I hope you still have it, though. That might be worth something one day.
Oh, maybe. Who knows? We gave out so many of these CDs. But anyways, one of them ended up making it up to Kitchener and to Rick. And he said that he wanted to meet me. And I, sometimes don't think about, how intense situations are going into them. So I was like, cool, this dude in Kitchener wants to meet me, just like going up without necessarily realizing how much, how many credentials this guy has. Like he worked with the Northern Pikes, with Tom Cochran, Beverly Mahood, Jamie Warren, Jason Blaine, like just to name a few.
Yeah, that's huge.
Like absolutely huge. And, it's been a really cool journey, through the last 9-10 years, getting not only to know myself as an artist, but also him as a producer and just a, awesome guy and such a talented person.
Yeah.
So, and the people that I've met through the studio as well, different writers, Carrie DeMayer being one of them. She has a cut on every single song on the album. Jamie Warren I've worked with and written with as well. There's a lot of really cool people that you get to meet through Cedar Tree.
Yeah, that's great. And do you do most of your writing yourself, or?
I do. All of my songs are either written or co-written by myself.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And what inspires you to write a song? What's your main thing? Could it be anything that's something that happened to you in the day, or something you saw in a movie, or just...
it can really be anything. I do be the Taylor Swift in me. I get inspired a lot by relationships.
Okay.
But it doesn't necessarily just need to be a love interest relationship. It can be a friendship. It can be, a partnership. There's a whole bunch of, I don't know. I really enjoy kind of the interactions between people. But, sometimes you'll hear a line somewhere and it'll inspire an idea, whether it be out in public or in, a movie or something. And then there's other ones that just kind of come to me and I write them down and bring them to a writing session and just kind of workshop them until you have a song. It is a really weird process. I don't even necessarily know how to comprehend it sometimes.
Yeah. So do you usually it is come lyrically or melodically or instrumentally, or is it usually random each time?
So a lot of my songs tend to kind of come as a pair.
Okay.
Like I'll have a lyric idea or a hook idea, and then when I sit down and write it, I usually try and find a melody that goes along with those lyrics. I do tend to find, I have written ones that you just get the music beforehand and you put lyric to it, or, you have a full set of lyric and then you put melody to it. But I find sometimes it's a little bit tricky in that sense to get it all to fit. So yeah, for me, I'm not sure. Just for whatever reason, lyric and melody kind of seem to go hand in hand.
Yeah, that's
pretty
so
cool
true.
part.
So
Yeah.
are you a lyricist, as in you have a book full of lyrics, or do you kind of just, when that song hits you, you say, okay, now it's time to sit down and write what's on my mind or
So
what's inspired me?
my phone is full of ideas.
That's great.
Whether it be voice memos or different little notes or whatnot.
Yeah.
I have my songwriting books, which are just right up here.
Yeah.
And I know like some people prefer to write on the computer. I'm very much a pen and paper
Yeah.
type person. It just with however much we have going on in a day, sometimes it's hard to remember those new song ideas. So I tend to find writing it down helps me remember.
Yeah. I'm a voice memo person myself. When something clicks,
Yeah.
I hit that record button, and just so I don't lose it in my scramble of a brain.
It's so easy to lose.
Oh
And
man, it's incredible.
I had a situation actually a little while ago where I changed phones, and I had backed it up a couple weeks previous, but there was a few ideas on that old phone, and I had deleted it to give it to a friend, and they were gone.
Oh no.
So it does happen every once in a while.
For
but,
sure.
yeah.
And I was talking to you yesterday. Were you in the studio? Are you working on a new album?
I am. So for me, the process never really stops. I'm fortunate enough. We have Studio Tuesday, the coined phrase. So every Tuesday, I am at the studio. I'm at Cedar Tree, and there's a wide variety of things that we're working on. So most of the time, it starts with a writing session. We might go and start demoing if we have a new song that popped out that day. We might work on stuff that we've previously recorded. It might be me singing background vocals for somebody else's project, or just listening to other people's music and kind of helping Rick sift through. He's pretty cool in regards to asking, the artists that he works with their opinions of the other people's works. And it's really helped me kind of be able to vocalize and learn the side of recording, because that's not something that I was exposed to previous to working with Rick. So yeah, Studio Tuesday, it's a different bowl of cereal every week, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, absorb that knowledge as best as you can, because it's pretty detailed getting into the recording arts.
Oh yeah.
I was
never
just over at EBAC, and it blew me away. I don't know if you've ever been there. It's in London, Ontario.
No, I don't know if I have.
And their facility is top notch. Amazing names have recorded there, but the equipment they have is just. I've recorded at a few places locally that just didn't hit that caliber. But when I walked in there, it was kind of like stepping into the real studio. And so while you're there, try and absorb everything that you can, because that will go with you for a long time.
Oh yeah, I definitely try and take it all in as much as I can. And, one of kind of the biggest life jumps is I went to Nashville last October.
Wow.
It was end of October, early November. And one of the actual judges last year on the shot was Rick Barker. He was Taylor Swift's first manager when she kind of spiked to fame. So I went down to, meet up with him some, and me and my one friend just kind of went for an entertainment trip.
Yep.
But just seeing the caliber of musicians down there really makes you realize, like, okay, it's time to step up. Like, your talent, your guitar playing, your understanding of how music works and how to say what you want to.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a really neat experience, an eye-opening experience for sure.
Yeah.
But I can't wait to get back.
Yeah, it was phenomenal. I was there in 2011, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And Nashville blew me away. Anywhere you go there, you're seeing top-notch talent, and it really shows you the levels to this.
Oh yeah.
It inspires you, really. Like, it's exactly what you said. I'm gonna go home, work on my guitar skills, my vocals, and that's a beautiful thing.
It is.
It
really is. And the cool thing is, like, I said when I came back, like, I've never felt so at home in a place that I've never been before.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I've just continuously heard, previous to going and afterwards about Nashville. Like, there's very few people that have anything bad to say about it. It's an awesome place.
Amazing place, and it's perfect for you, country.
Yeah.
I'll hope to see you there sometime. Is there a song you'd like to play for us?
Yeah, we can definitely do that. I just happen to have my guitar handy, like we didn't even plan it.
Well, feel free to strum away any song you'd like.
Well, we can do that. So I will play one of your favorites, as just mentioned. So this is Hellbound. This is a song that Jessie Pitcher, myself, and Carrie DeMayer wrote together. This was actually the first song that Jess and I wrote together, which was pretty cool. He came to me with this He came to me with that, and I was like, oh man, we gotta write that song. Like, just straight up, he's an unreal guitar player. So we sat down, and yeah, this one ended up coming out, which was a very different. Oh, did I lose you there?
Oh, yeah, you stalled out there, but you're good now, though.
Okay, someone was just trying to call me.
No worries.
But yeah, it was a completely different vibe than we'd ever written before. But it really helped shape the album, and this really turned out to be one of the favorites for, kind of moving forward and off that album, and will kind of inspire a little bit of what album 2 is about as well.
Awesome. Can't wait to hear it.
So here we go. Hellbound. The August sun was burning real. It was cold inside my heart. He had no idea what he had to come, but I'd known her right from the start. She was 17 when she fell into this poison in his lies, and I couldn't do a goddamn thing as I watched my best friend die. The day they put her in the ground, I hollowed out inside, and I sought advice from the devil himself about one I pulled. She was way too young to die. It's too far to turn around. Gonna burn this thing to ashes and drag him right into the ground. Now the devil is my only friend, and he'll be waiting for me in the end. Watched his every single move and come into his world. 5 years gone, the work is done, never heard another. The only thing I knew for sure was how it all ends. And I knew this night would be his last, and rest in peace, my friends. Sweet revenge and kerosene lit up that August sky. He's getting hit straight to hell, Lord knows so. I don't need no alibi. It's too far to turn around. break him right into the ground. Now the devil is my only friend, and he'll be waiting for me in the end. I'm hellbound. Here I'm walking on the rails, just like the way I live. In here for all eternity, so I can make him understand. It's too hard to turn around. Gonna burn this thing to ashes and drag him straight into the ground. Now the devil is my only friend, and he'll be waiting for me in the end. The August sun was burning red, was cold inside my heart. He had no idea what he had come, but I knew it right from the start.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's a killer song. And props to Jessie P.
Yeah. Jessie P and Jessie T.
That's awesome. He's the one who wrote that riff?
He did, yeah.
Yeah, it's a great song. I love it. That's by far my favorite one on your album.
Well, thank you.
So anybody who's in Toronto, don't forget she's there May 12th at the Music Showcase at Canadian Music Week. And that's at Boots and Bourbon. So anybody in Toronto, go check her out. That's Jessie T. Thank you so much for spending the time and playing a song for us. It was amazing chatting with you.
Thank you for having me on. Happy we coordinated it.
Yes, would love to do it again sometime. Let me know when that new album's coming out and we'll have another chit chat.
Will do.
Take care. Take care, Jessie.
You too.
Bye-bye.
I was serving up shots of summer comfort in bottles and cans.